lovers, it is G-Swizz here, and I'm here today to do the mid-year book freakout tag of 2018. So this book tag was created by two amazing Aussie booktubers, and they are Chami at Read Like Wildfire. No joke, is that Chami? Ah! Sorry Chami, still getting used to your new channel name. And I think Ellie Jane at Earl Grey Books. I will link both creators' original videos down in the description so you can check them out. Faithie, can you please be quiet for Gracie? Thank you! She's having a lot of fun right now. So pretty much this book tag is all about recapping the first half of the year. I'm really excited to do it because I'm the type of person that loves to do wrap-ups and TBRs. I'm kind of like a rare kind in the booktube community. I look forward to that time of the month, whereas everybody else says that those are their least favorite videos to do. I don't get why, to be honest. So let's just say this is my kind of video. I'm excited to get into recapping my 2018 reading year so far through these prompts. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started. So prompt number 1 is the best book you've read so far in the year of 2018. I'm pretty sure last year I had to choose between 2 or 3. It was really hard for me personally to choose my favorite book of 2017. Like literally 3 to 4 books were fighting for that spot, and I honestly couldn't decide. But this year there's definitely only one book that has really stuck out to me, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I adore this book. I love it. I will give it all the praise. It deserves all the hype. I'm so happy it did live up to the hype for me because I actually was not originally planning to read this at all. And then all of a sudden intrigue came over me and I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna give this a shot, and us as a Biblio squad agreed upon doing it as a book pick of the month, and that really did work out in our favor because it was so good. It was really good. I've honestly fallen in love with the characters, I've fallen in love with the world, I've fallen in love with the concept of the story, and the reason why Tomi wrote it was honestly a book that was jam-packed with heart, and I couldn't be more thankful for it. I love it, and it's just honestly rocked my world. Prompt number 2 is the best sequel you read so far in 2018, and for this one, hands down, it has to go to Firefight by Brandon Sanderson. This had me at the edge of my seat. This is the best book in the trilogy in my personal opinion. This is the second book in the Reckoners trilogy. I love this trilogy. I don't only just love the concept of this trilogy, I just love the story, and the story just went into places that I never expected in here, and that's what kept me so engrossed and so gripped by the story. And oh man, I just love the sequel, and I definitely recommend this trilogy to anybody who hasn't jumped on it yet. The hype train isn't big for this series, but I am here to exist as a hype train person. I'm the fandom right now. If anybody else loves this series, let me know. And if anybody wants to read this series, just do it. Prompt number 3 is a new release that you haven't read yet, but you want to. And I have 2 books for this prompt. So first of all, I'm gonna talk about Warstorm by Victoria Aveyard. I was expecting to read this straight away, but then I didn't realize how chunky it was going to be. Not only that, I don't think that I'm in the emotional state to read it straight away. I think this book got delivered to my house when I was in the middle of a reading slump anyway. I don't think that the fact that it was 650 pages and it was delivered to my house in a reading slump time gave me motivation to start this at all. But that is going to be rectified this month because it is on my Tome Topple TBR, so it has to be read. And the second new release that I haven't got to yet and I need to, I don't own and I should have bought, and that is Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I honestly do not know why I haven't picked this book up yet. I have not been in the Red Rising universe for a very long time, and I think that's the reason why I forget that the spin-off exists, and I need to buy it and I need to read it. I understand that Dark Age has been pushed back. That is not at all the reason why I'm intimidated by it. I'm just intimidated by its size. Yeah, pretty much. So I definitely need to get to that one this year, and I need to read it this year. But first of all, I need to buy it this year. So let's make that happen. Oh my goodness, I finished filming the tag and I totally forgot to add the 4th prompt into here. I mean, you couldn't really tell because I'm in the same location. I only just remembered just before I finished filming. So now I'm gonna answer prompt number 4, which is my most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and you can't make me choose. I honestly have 4 really big ones. The first one being The Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. Oh man, I need that book in my hands right now. People have arcs. People have arcs for the finale. Don't spoil me, okay? I'm kind of fine with waiting, just as long as you don't spoil me, because if you spoil me, I will end you. But are my babies okay? My second most anticipated release I have to mention is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This book has been on my anticipated release TBR for years now, and it's finally coming out. It's going to be almost 1,000 pages. I don't know how I will function after reading this finale. I'm so freaking scared. I really am, but I'm really excited for it because it's a Never Book in the Front of Glass series. But it's the final book in the Front of Glass series. That is what I'm nervous about. The third anticipated release I will mention is Archenemies, which is the sequel to Renegades, which is like above me right there. I absolutely loved and adored Renegades, and I'm really excited to reread it this year because Archenemies is coming out, and I can't even. I literally can't even. The final anticipated release I will mention on this list today, book lovers, will be Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. I haven't even read Lord of Shadows, so I don't even know if I'm entitled to say this, but I'm anticipating it, and I'm really excited to read Lord of Shadows this year. Prompt number 5 is your biggest disappointment of 2018, and I have 2 here. Now, funnily enough, I don't actually remember rating a single book 2 out of 5 stars or lower. Everything's been like a solid 3 this year, which has been good, but at the same time, there hasn't been that many 5 out of 5 star reads. So far this year, my reading has mostly been between 3 to 4 out of 5 stars, which is okay, but that's more like mediocre, and I want more 5 out of 5 star reads, and there are kind of like less extremes, to be honest. So I'm technically caught between 2. I was going to actually mention Acrofast for the sake of it, because it was just mediocre, but then when I thought about it, it wasn't really a disappointment because I wasn't expecting that much. So I'm definitely not going to mention Acrofast. Acrofast was just okay, but the 2 books that I will be mentioning had somewhat of a disappointing factor to them. So first of all, Snotgirl Volume 2 by Brian Lee O'Malley and Leslie Hung. I loved the first volume. The second volume just lacked the stuff that I loved from the first volume. I mean, the art style was on point. The more and more I was reading this, the more and more I wanted it to end, and that's when I knew that it wasn't the best read at all this year. So that's kind of why it had a disappointing factor to it. And the second biggest disappointment that I will be mentioning today, book lovers, is The Hazel Wood by Melissa Albert. So I requested this book for review and I received it for review. I'm so thankful that I got to read it and review it. My biggest problem with this book was the fact that it was pretty hyped. And don't get me wrong, the concept was amazing, the writing was beautiful, but I could not root for the main character. And I understand that unlikable protagonists are important to certain stories. And this was kind of the case for the book, but the protagonist was just way too unlikable for my liking, and this book kind of dragged on. And the best parts of this book literally happens in the last 50 pages. So that's the reason why I'm somewhat disappointed by it. I didn't necessarily hate the Hazel Wood per se, but I think that it could have been improved upon. Prompt number 6 is the biggest surprise of the year, and for this one, I'm gonna have to go with Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. I was not expecting to love this one as much as I did, and I did love it. It was very good. And this book is pretty chunky, and the series is like 9 books long, so I wasn't expecting this to have that much plot, so that's what I was very scared about. But A, it did have a good plot, but it wasn't really that plot-driven, because B, it was somewhat a character-driven story. And this was a character-driven space opera that was done right, and I'm so excited to read the sequel. And I wanted to read the sequel for Tome Topple, but unfortunately that's not gonna happen because I have 3 other chunky books to prioritize during Tome Topple, so there's that. Prompt number 7 is favorite new author. This could be a debut author or a new to you author, and it's both in this case, because this is a debut author and they're also new to me, because they're debut. And that, my friends, is Alexandra Christo, the author of To Kill a Kingdom. I will read anything from Alexandra Christo after I read this book, because I'm gonna be real, mermaids and sirens aren't really my thing. I mean, like, I'm willing to read about them, but they're not like my thing. Like, if you're new to my channel and if you want to know what my thing is superheroes. That's my thing. But To Kill a Kingdom was one of my absolute favorite books of 2018 because of Alexandra Christo's writing style and the way that she fleshed out her characters within the standalone. It was just so cinematic and so amazing. I just love it so much. I will read anything from her. I'm really excited for her to pump out a new book. Alexandra, when are you pumping out a new book? I need it. Prompt number 8 is your newest fictional crush. This one's hard because I don't know if I've actually had a bookish crush this year so far. No, I haven't. I haven't had a bookish crush so far. It's kind of sad. I mean, I could choose a guy from my favorite book this year so far, but then I couldn't, because at this moment of time, I meant to hate Anon. And I don't hate Anon, but I just don't have a crush on him. Even though he really did himself dirty and he went a bit too far, I'm still kind of rooting for him, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'd have to say my favorite fictional crush isn't really a bookish crush, but they are technically a comic bookish crush, and they're also kind of a cinematic crush. And that would be T'Challa, aka the Black Panther. I mean, at the moment, I'm not like obsessed with T'Challa, but you know, I think he's adorable, especially when he freezes in front of Nikia. Oh man, that's just so swoon-worthy. Prompt number 9 is your newest favorite character. And for this one, I have to go with Zelly from Children of Blood and Bone. I love Zelly. Everybody else prefers Amari over Zelly, and that's okay. Like, I totally understand. I just don't know why. I really gravitated towards Zelly. I don't know. I just find her to be a very complex character because she is pretty unlikable, and you really just want her to trust the people around her, but she doesn't, and then she ends up trusting some of the wrong people. But personally, I have to say that Zelly is my baby, and I will protect her at all costs. I love how fierce she is, and she is a fictional character that really inspired me personally. Prompt number 10 is a book that made you cry. For this one, I have to mention Wing Jones by Catherine Weber. This book had me sobbing. I'm pretty sure only 3 books made me cry this year, one being Children of Blood and Bone, one being Grey Veil. And yes, that one made me cry at the time, but over time, I've just become more bitter about that book. But this book genuinely made me cry because of what drives the plot in the story. It was so heartbreaking, and I would cry throughout it. I mean, yes, there is a big event in the story, but I would just cry throughout the novel because of the ways that the protagonist coped with their grief. I honestly couldn't read this book without shedding tears. It was that heartbreaking to me, but also it was so striking to me. I love this novel so much, and I highly recommend it to anyone out there. It did make me cry a lot, but I got so much out of it. This is one of my new favorite contemporaries of all time. Prompt number 11 is a book that made you happy, and for this one, I have to go with The Runaways Volume 1 by Rainbow Rowell. And this comic book made me so happy because I finally got to read Rainbow Rowell's take on The Runaways after years of anticipating it, and after finally watching the Runaways TV show, oh my goodness, I just love the Runaways TV show. I honestly loved reading this so much, and I really do need Volume 2 now. Prompt number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought/received this year. And again, I have to bring a Rainbow Rowell book up, and that is Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, the US paperback. I've wanted this paperback for so long, and I finally decided to unhaul my UK paperback because the US one is gorgeous. I mean, look at how beautiful my boys are, but not only that, we have the map of Watford. This is just beautiful. The whole aesthetic of this book is just amazing. I love all the colors together. They're just so beautiful. I'm just so happy I finally have this. Prompt number 13 will be, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And I've got like a top 5 here. I've already done a top 5 Wednesday topic on books that I need to get to by the end of the year, and none of these are on that list. These are just another kind of like top 5 list that I definitely do need to read by the end of the year. So first of all, I would love to start the Leviathan Trilogy by Scott Westerfeld, which consists of Leviathan, Behemoth, and Goliath. I think the series was on my series TBR for the year. I felt like I really needed to read the series, but I definitely think that it will be a victory enough if I at least get to the first book. Another book that I definitely need to get to this year is Aruh and the End of Time by Rishoni Chokshi. This book was one of my most anticipated releases of this year, and I haven't got to it yet, so that needs to change. Another anticipated release I haven't gotten to this year is Whisper by Lynette Noni. I need to get to this one, but I'm very intimidated by it because first of all, Greyvale didn't go so well for me because I hated a trope that happened in it, and second of all, it's pitched as Stranger Things meets Divergent. Those are two things that I love, and if something is compared to Divergent, I am very critical on it, so that's why I'm very scared about reading this. And so I'm happy that we've moved past the hype for this book so that maybe I might find some enjoyment in it, because I definitely don't want the hype train to be chewing while I'm reading this book, because if that train is too vocal, I might not enjoy it. That's what I'm very scared about. And the last two I have to mention are final books in the series. That is Hero at the Fall by Alan Hamilton and The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Adier. I need to finish these series, and that is all there is to it. And the final prompt for this tag today, book lovers, is going to be my favorite book community member. Now I'm gonna be real with you guys, I don't really have a favorite at the moment, but I definitely want to give one a shout out. Let's just say that this person has been very consistent in the booktube community when it comes to being everyone's friend and kind of mother at the same time. I really do admire them, and I look up to them for that. That, my friends, is Rhiannon from Crescent Moon Reads. I have to give her a shout out. I honestly love watching her content. Her content is great and absolutely fun to watch. I absolutely love watching her reviews and also her discussion videos. They seriously contribute so much to this community, and that's why I love them so much. That's why I love watching her videos, and I just love Rhiannon as a person. Thank you for doing you, Rhiannon. I love you, and this shout out goes to you. Okay, I guess that's gonna be it for this video today, book lovers. If you want to purchase any of the books that I mentioned in this video today, all the Book Depository purchase links will be down in the description, so you can check them out, you can purchase them, and you can help me out by doing so. And I also have social medias. I'm at G-Swizzel Books on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm also at Goodreads. That's www.goodreads.com/G-Swizzel. I love you, book lovers, and I will see you later. Peace.